So pessimism is a scourge and a great social evil, in my opinion, because I think it distracts us from the possibilities of life, and I think it does it at every level, from the individual's life all the way up to the life of our societies and what our societies are capable of, and what humanity is capable of, and we take upon a very self-hating, very dim view of our natures. I think too often, in when we confront this sort of attitude towards what we're capable of doing. Whereas it's clear that we can do great things, we can do tremendous things, and yet people too often, I think, look down on it and say, yeah, well, it's like, yeah, isn't it? Like a 747 is like, it's just a big plane. Or like, I don't know, rockets are just another rocket. And you do get these attitudes building up. It comes out of pessimism, and I think associated with that is like a doom and gloom thinking, doom mongering, apocalypse preaching types. Yeah, that's all bound up into pessimism. That's a deeply pessimistic attitude. The idea that this is all going to end in failure, it's all going to end in tears, it's all going to end in death and fire and destruction. And I don't believe it will. I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to do even better in the future than we have in the past. I genuinely do. And the attitude of the pessimist, there's a cynicism to it as well. There's an aspect of cynicism, I'd have said. However, there's also usually a superficiality in terms of learning, and there's a justification there with notions of realism, and this is where these superficialities in terms of learning become obvious. I think because when saying like, oh, but oh, we'll never do this, we'll never do that, like, you actually don't really know what we're capable of, I don't think, quite, do you? Or you don't know enough about our scientific and technical capabilities to be able to confidently assert whether or not something is possible or not. Or, whether or not we'll actually do something or not. Do you see? And, my mother, for instance, is the most dyed-in-the-wool pessimist you've ever come across in your entire life. She's apathetic, pessimistic, defeatist, and sees optimism and enthusiasm and want to suck it out of someone just as soon as possible. They're always striking down from a position of assumed authority or assumed learning or expertise in an area. That's not possible. Like, you don't know, do you? And that's the real truth. You're just saying words because you want to not only be part of a conversation, but you want to be dominating a conversation, and passing judgment and saying yay or nay. Because with her, it's like never a question. It's always an assertion of knowledge. Never like, I need to find out more about this, and this before I can make a judgment. Nothing like that. Yeah, whenever you put something to her, it's like, she always comes from a position of all-knowing supremacy. And very often I think you find this among pessimists. Whereas, the attitude I prefer in life is one of cautious optimism. Thinking that, yes, great things are possible. This much is clear from what we see in history. We see the turn of the 19th century, people saying everything that's been invented has been invented. Fast forward 50 years, rockets, taking people to space. And, we'd never, no one saw that coming. Really. Well, I mean, people did, actually. They did. Yes, they did. But, yeah, and eventually came to pass. And, yes. Pessimism, it sucks at the soul. It's pseudo-intellectual in its character. It's, the literal meaning of pseudo-intellectual, like pretending you know about something when you don't know anything about it. And, sort of pretending like, I'm clever enough really to be able to say this is possible and this is possible. I mean, no, as you might not be. And yes, like, what we're capable of doing, like, if we're capable of doing certain things now, like what we'd be capable of in 10 years' time doing then, like, we just don't know. Is the mystery, the future, like science and innovation, it's like a Pandora's box. We're just like gradually, feeding deeper into, finding out what it goes deeper. all the time. Dramatic and cool, interesting stuff, beautiful things. And we get to see the beauty of nature. And I hate it with my mum. Always. I'll never talk to her again because there's cat incident. But I mean, yeah, never assumes learning about science, tech, engineering, maths. So I know she never learned, never had an interest in. No, not one science book on a bookshelf. Not one. Still, a challenge. Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Don't be a pessimist. Be cautiously optimistic, because the future could be fucking amazing. It could be really cool. It could be very, very cool indeed. Skies craver rockers. Yes, I think so. Yes.